Which persistent misconception myth annoys you the most? Any hoax that my family finds on Facebook. Recently I was warned to not eat bananas because they were being injected with HIV. Not only are bananas not being injected with HIV, it wouldn't survive more than a few seconds outside your body. So, really? Just be wary of people sprinting up to you with a banana and demanding you eat it fast. We will solve all our problems if we just elect the right president. People don't realize just how much power Congress has over the president. If you want change, get the right president. And get the right people in Congress. Sadly, most people just go for the president. Cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. So glad when I found out this wasn't true. I'm addicted to cracking my knuckles. And wrist, toes, neck, back and TMJ. So pleasurable. Because it happens to be cold today. There is no global warming. I loved Colbert's response to this on one of his episodes of the Colbert Report. He was like, global warming does not exist because it's snowing today. Just like how world hunger doesn't exist because I'm not hungry right now. That there's a hidden cure for cancer but pharmaceutical companies are not releasing it because they would lose profits. To suggest that there is a sole cure for all types of cancer, be it a solid tumor like breast cancer, or a hematologic malignancy like AML, is just so absurd to me. Or the ones who believe that it's not hidden. It's just still not legal. I was at a music festival once where during the day they had a yoga type fundraiser for cancer. One of the announcers, while standing beside a young girl who was terminal, said something along the lines of, "We know what the cure is. Now we just have to get it legalized." It was one of the most obscene and rude things I've ever witnessed. I'm aware what they were talking about. In context, I didn't think it needed to be spelt out. They were talking about weed up. There are 5 Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays this month, and that only happens every 823 years, and the Chinese call it money bags. Share this Facebook post and you'll be rich. Seriously. It happens. On average. Once a year, and most of the time. When people share it, it isn't even true. This stupid thing is so easy to realize it's wrong. I don't know how anyone can believe it. That if you find a baby bird on the ground and put it back in its nest, the parents will smell you and reject its baby. 1. Birds are some of the best parents in the animal kingdom. 2. Birds have an underdeveloped sense of smell and cannot smell you. Edit. Well, this blew up. I should have specified that I was talking about songbirds. I'm a naturalist from the Audubon Society and I'm aware of turkey vultures and shearwaters. So what you should do is leave the bird alone. If it has feathers and is on the ground, it's probably learning to fly and its parents are nearby. If it doesn't have feathers, and you put it back in the nest, and mom kicks it back out, it had absolutely nothing to do with you. I spend my summer banding birds. We open up every nest box at the nature center and band the chicks. Not one has ever been tossed from the nest because it smelled funny. Edit 2. Look at all these hilarious Uniden references. I haven't heard these every time I've posted about birds. Gambler's fallacy. If something hasn't happened for a while, it is more likely to happen the next time it can. Or vice versa. It forgets that events are independent. If I drink and drive 1,000 times, it is more likely that I will get caught. However, if I don't the first 1,000, the probability of me being caught on the 1,001st time is no different than the first. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/gambler%27s_fallacy. I really hate the myth that the emergency oxygen masks on airplanes make you high or docile so you don't panic during a crash. That's almost the exact opposite effect. If airlines really wanted their passengers to be docile, they would just let them have hypoxia. Now that will make you calm. I absolutely hate the fitness industry social media for popularizing the idea of a tone body. You see these people standing on meds and gonads doing 100 body weight squats. Or doing dumbbell curls with 5 pounds because they don't want to get too big. You aren't going to lift heavy weights for a year and accidentally become Arnold. No. Lots of reps with little weight are not going to get you tone. Tone is muscle mass plus low body fat. To put on muscle you need to lift heavy weight and progress over time. To have low body fat, you need to eat at a caloric deficit. It's really that simple. Edit, as a few mentioned. Lifting heavier and progressing over time increasing your strength, which also results in hypertrophy. However, bodybuilding programs don't necessarily focus solely on increased weight but rather work their muscles to failure. That an undercover cop has to tell you they're a cop as long as you ask them 3 times. Who the duck comes up with that it? I always thought it was if you say a person's name in the mirror 3 times and turn out the lights. You'll hear a siren and see blue and red if that person is an undercover cop. That humans couldn't have evolved from monkeys because today's monkeys haven't evolved into humans. Nuclear reactors can explode like nuclear bombs. No, they can't. They can get really hot and melt stuff or maybe set something else on fire that can explode. They do not explode like nuclear ordnance. Edit, till there is a difference between ordnance and ordnance. I could have blamed it on autocorrect. Please excuse my phonetics. That we only use 10% of our brains. Yes, because millions of years of evolution allowed us to keep a whole lot of space occupied for no possible use or function. Spare me. That hair that is shave trimmed will grow back thicker and longer. It won't and doesn't. It's an illusion created by everything being neatly cut to the same length, giving it an effect of more volume. The idea that ancient people were stupid and backward. We are only where we are now because of their achievements. And we will look stupid and backward in a few years. Also, treat cancer with radiation? How barbaric. Video game where you use your hands? That's like a baby's game. They let actual humans pilot cars? What were they thinking? That somebody is stupid simply because they don't know something. Or more that people mock their stupidity. There was recently a constantly reposted thread, what's the dumbest thing you've ever heard someone say, and it's always chock full of shit that people shouldn't be mocking but instead just correct them and be happy you got to teach them something. I just found out Easter is the first Sunday after a full moon on or after the 21st of March. Never knew before last night. But nobody else in the car knew either, so they didn't mock me for not knowing why Easter is when it is. If I asked the same question about Thanksgiving, I'm sure I would have been made fun of. TL. Doctor, stop making fun of people for being misinformed or uninformed and be happy you get to inform them. I don't eat chemicals. Okay. Enjoy your nice tasty diet of photons and vacuum. I met like 30 people in prison that said they did time with Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I went to prison in Texas. They would all say different variations of how he was quiet and big. Closed bracket. Oh yay, too bad he's a fictional character inspired by 2 different people. I got in a lot of fights at the beginning. I was just about to post this same thing. So many people think that there's a guy named Leatherface in Huntsville who massacred people with a chainsaw. As seen in the documentary The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and its 6 follow-up docs. I've been in a lot of actual arguments over this. Because people get really pissed when you tell them it's not real. And before anyone says it. Yes. It was loosely based off of Ed Gein. And when I say loosely, I mean very loosely. That jellyfish are electric. They're not. They sting you with nematocysts which stick in your skin and inject some toxins. That's what stings. You're not getting shocked, you're getting microscopically stabbed. That all gay men want to have sex with all men. If you aren't turning down women left and right, you likely aren't so good looking that we can't control ourselves. Or that lesbians are just trying to convert all women to their man-hating cause. Or that bisexuals are just sleuths who will duck anyone. It's like you mention sexuality, and people get 800% dumber instantly. That glass is a really viscous liquid and that's why all the windows are thicker at the bottom. If you want to get technical with it, it is a viscous liquid. until it cools and solidifies. Kinda like Jello. Why is Jesus depicted as a white European? Edit. Now that everyone is gone, I wanna say, I knew why. It just annoyed me that you shock a flatline to bring someone back to life. The Vikings did not have horns on their helmets. Damn it. Don't know if they count as myths, but pretty much any weight loss system that isn't essentially eat less, move more. The persistent myth that people before about 1600, particularly in Europe, were a bunch of knuckle-dragging, unenlightened, superstitious idiots. The most annoying comment? That they thought the earth was flat. The oldest universities in Europe were founded in the Middle Ages. Their education system laid out the foundations of formal and informal logic. Law and rhetoric were taught along with arts. This is why so many logical arguments, fallacies and legal concepts are still referred to by Latin phrases. Scientifically, they followed the natural laws inherited from Aristotle. Not modern physics, or even early modern physics. But it was still an understanding of matter and motion according to a set of laws. Also, geocentric astronomy was still astronomy after all. It was still able to predict eclipses and the movement of the sun. They did this all without even a crude telescope, and simply watching the sun and moon with the naked eye. I do not know of any modern astronomers who can say they've done the same. Edit to add, wow. I seriously appreciate the amount of response that this had received. I appreciate all the comments shared here. You the Cat 5001 shared this article on Aristotle's physics and Newtonian's physics if you're interested in scholarly literature, and you ought to be. There's another book called God's Philosophers, How the Medieval World Laid the Foundations of Modern Science that talks a bit about what everyone discussed here. Here's review of it by an atheist. Alternately, you can look up Aristotle's physics, Thomas Aquinas and Aristotle, or Albert the Great, or Roger Bacon. If you got the minerals, and the time and patience, to read primary source. Vaccines cause autism. As an autistic person, I love making the joke whenever I get vaccinated that I heard these things cause autism. Good thing I'm already there. That a father spending time alone with his child is babysitting. I would get so pissed whenever someone would say that to me. If humans came from monkeys. A classmate of mine brought this up in a debate in science class, ostensibly under the delusion that he was wielding a weapons-grade argument against evolution. I'm at a YEC school, teacher didn't even correct him. I think the better question is, if humans came from steel beams, why can't jet fire melt transitional fossils? That women only make 78 cents in America to the man's dollar. It's incredibly misleading but widely cited. Edit. It's that OCD is an adjective, or a verb, or just a quirk, and not a potentially debilitating mental disorder that has driven many people to madness or suicide. When people think that if they earn too much money they will get put in a higher tax bracket which will cost them more than the extra money they made by working more. Or when employees get cash awards at my job that are withheld at 40% and they believe that they are getting screwed by paying extra tax.